Dear visitor, thank you very much for your interest in my work and this exhibition. Give me 5 minutes to tell you about its context and my intention. Psyche, or the Misfortunes of Beauty, is a work composed of 9 digital pictures and a short story, exhibited in Second Life in a 2-story hall and published in an ebook. It is a contemporary variation on the myth of Psyche, in the tradition of the tales it inspired, anchored in its own century. The story of this project began 2 years ago, when a Second Life resident invited me to create a complete exhibition on the theme of beauty for her private gallery. It took me a long time to get started on this project, because I was busy with other commitments, and because the subject was vast and ambitious. The first year, I worked on sketches by hand, asking myself the wrong questions. This is often the case with commissioned work. By imposing the theme, the patron unwittingly confuses my way of working. I'm not clear about my intention and tend to wander from one idea to another, getting lost in vain formal considerations. After only a year, I began to focus on the idea of embodying beauty through the updating of a mythical figure and its necessary desacralization. I was interested in Aphrodite, but I ended up rewriting the myth of Psyche, more human, which would later inspire Sleeping Beauty, Snow White, Cinderella, and Beauty and the Beast. My patron was a jewel of patience. I explained to her my doubts, my busy schedule, and, despite the fact that she had paid a 50% deposit for the project, she didn't put any pressure on me. In the middle of the project, I learned from one of her friends that Beck was ill in RL and would not be able to return to Second Life. Psyche was an orphan. Out of loyalty, I decided to create this work in spite of everything. The final result is probably not faithful to her request as a patron. I probably distorted it to create a tormented and abused Psyche. It took me 3 attempts to achieve the final result. All 3 were technically based on the use of Midjourney, and in the first 2, learning this entirely new tool took precedence over the meaning of the work. It wasn't until March 2023 that, with a personal style that I had stabilized as much as possible with a tool that was constantly evolving, I achieved a result that I considered acceptable. My creative process has always been a constant back and forth between the accident of creation and intention, between image and text, between the imaginary and the reality of our world. This time, writing the story of Psyche was a more difficult moment than usual. Every time I thought I'd finished the text, I'd get the feeling that something was missing, and I'd add to it. I added so much that in the end the text was 3 times longer than I had originally imagined. And even today, I'd still like to explore other ramifications. I didn't decide on the end point because the story was finished, but because I couldn't see the end. If the myth and its associated tales have a happy ending, the heroine's life is a living hell. She is the embodiment of beauty, and seems to have no control over her destiny. She's the most attractive soul on earth, and there's nothing she can do about it. She carries a beauty that will earn her the predation of males and the jealousy of females, and there's nothing she can do about it. But since these texts were written, despite Walt Disney's displeasure, Soren Kierkegaard's despair, Max Weber's disenchantment and feminism have come and gone. I could have told the story of a postmodern Psyche, carefree and joyful, hedonistic, integrated into a tangle of communities. I told the story of a woman alone among the others. She is driven by contemplation of the beauty of the world and by unwavering devotion to others. She has a deep aversion to the selfishness and vanity of the humans of her time, and the chain of violence, destruction, and emptiness it produces. These 2 movements combine to arouse in others, as soon as she appears, both fascination and passion, adoration and ferocity. Her reaction is that of her time and generation. There is no question of submitting to fate. Gods no longer exist, and the God of the 21st century, if indeed he is the creator of the universe, has also created free will. Thank you for your attention and patience. The 9 paintings are located in the mezzanine above you. On the first floor, you'll find excerpts from the short story. The short story and the 9 paintings are collected in an ebook at the entrance to the exhibition. I hope you enjoy the exhibition. Many thanks again. With love.